everybody. How are we today? Are you enjoying the summit? Thank you. Yes, let's share it up. We have here amazing panelists. Yes, you can come together. We have an amazing mix of individuals who represent different vehicles, different entities. Thank you so much. So I'm Giorgos Nicoletakis. I'm the CEO of 100 Mentors and one of the organizers of this summit. Thank you so much for coming here. So without further ado, I think that the caliber of the speakers today is such that I shouldn't speak much. So the title of our gathering here is Building National AI Agendas, and I will start right away with our panelists. First of all, we have Andreas Stavropoulos, partner at Threshold Ventures, vice chairman of Endeavor Greece. You can applause the speakers, please. Yeah, please. So let's see. So we have Yannis Mastrogeorgiou. He's the Special Secretary of Foresight Strategy for the Presidency of the Hellenic Republic. Please. We have Mr. Dimitris Tassias. I'm saying right? Tassias, yes. Right? Yeah. Impressive. He's partner at EY for Government and Public Sector Technology Consulting. Mrs. Ismini Papakirilou. She's the CEO of the Hellenic Development Bank. And right next to me, Gian Andronopoulou, General Manager of Microsoft, Greece, Cyprus, Malta. Andrea, we will start with you. You have also the difficult role of fireside chatting with the Prime Minister afterwards, so we will cover a lot of ground there.
I'm hoping it's a very easy role because he's the one that people want to hear from. I just ask a couple questions and stay shut.
Very good. I know you are a great conversationalist, and I'm enjoying speaking with you every time. So I will start with this question here about what your hat, your VC investment hat. So the question is, what are the key factors that attract investment in AI startups, and how can national policies support such investment locally?
Mm-hmm. I don't think the factors that affect venture capital investments vary that much, whether one is in Silicon Valley or Greece or China or Israel or anywhere else, right? You're always looking for fantastic people, most important thing, great human talent, with great ideas that go after big markets, with some form of differentiated technology. And I don't think that at the fundamental sort of high level, that doesn't really change. So why, therefore, if we're all looking for the same things, and God knows there is capital these days in a lot of places, at least in the Western world, in the advanced world, and also, frankly, most of the places around the world, you can find capital. So if we're looking for the same things and capital is available, why is it that there are some places that consistently, like Silicon Valley, do such a better job of engendering ecosystems of success? And staying at the high level, because I'm sure we're going to hear a lot of details about specifically Greece and what can be done better. And Yanni and I had the pleasure of working on this AI committee that hopefully the Prime Minister will address later, specifically about AI. But at the high level, having been in Silicon Valley for 26 years now, the thing that I see working there more than any other place is this idea of an equity economy. And what I mean by that is participation in each other's success.
Exactly.
This has a lot of implications. It has implications about risk and how risk is seen as something that is not to be feared, that accepting forms of risk and making sure that the incentives are there to have returns that are commensurate with the kind of risk that people take, and having the ability to participate in the wealth that's created out of those returns to the risk is the essential element. I would argue that the California government these days is not particularly business friendly. If you look at the taxes and all kinds of regulations and all that, it is not what I would put out there as a sort of, let's say, political infrastructure that's particularly conducive. Yet, the ecosystem not only survives, but thrives. And that's because once you have an ecosystem built, it is a very powerful thing. So going to your question about sort of national, what are people aspiring to do? I think at the end of the day, what we're all aspiring to do in different places around the world is to create an ecosystem that somehow shares, so to speak, equity participation in the success of the companies that get produced there. And therefore, everything that the government does, that the private sector does, that VCs do, if you think about it from that lens, are we setting it up in a way that is participatory, that allows different elements of society to participate and understand the risk and the rewards to that risk, and make sure that those are explained and hopefully stay consistent over time? That's another big thing that we unfortunately have lacked in this country until the last 5 years at least, which is consistently saying that we want to promote entrepreneurial activity in a way that political powers can sort of agree on. I can't believe this is still a debate, right? Where you're saying, well, should we be entrepreneurial? Should we allow, companies to be formed? It should not be a debate. So consistency, equity participation, strong ecosystems over time. I'll stop there.
Amazing. Andreas, we are so glad that you're bringing these insights to the AI National Committee and to us today as well. Dear Yanni, as the Special Secretary of Foresight Strategy, how does the Greek government plan to integrate AI into its long-term national development plan? And what are the anticipated challenges of this government plan?
Thank you for the question. Thanks for the invitation. Thank you, everybody, for being here this afternoon. I guess that you are here because you want to hear the PM later on with Andreas. That's fine. We will finish shortly in order to have time to drink coffee and enjoy the break before PM. So, going back to your question, as Andreas mentioned before, Andreas and other 10 high esteemed not only professors and academians, I would say, participate in the advisory committee, the high-level advisory committee on the PM's office. It was established 1 year ago, I guess. Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong. And because of the long-term planning that you mentioned, first of all, next week, Andreas and the other guys will present the blueprint for Greece's transformation in the era of artificial intelligence. So Greece will be among the major states all over the world who will have a concrete plan for the AI era, period. It's going to be an amazing text. It's going to be something really nice. Andreas and the other fellows over there make an amazing job within these 11 past months. And through this text, we're going to establish what we think are our national priorities and what will be our national advantages. I'm not going to say any more about that. You will read it in a week, more or less. Mm-hmm. So our main framework, our main proposals, our main task is to have Greece within the international field of artificial intelligence. It's not so easy to be part of the community, the high-level countries that have established already an artificial intelligence concrete strategy. But because artificial intelligence mainly consists of three things. It has to do with amazing data, computational data, with computational power, and the third one, which is the most crucial for me, it has to do with algorithms, meaning talent. And Greece is among the top countries, and we should be proud of that because we have amazing human talent working on artificial intelligence. Not only on coding, but also on other fields that collide with AI, meaning philosophy, law, ethics, something like that. You will read a lot of this stuff next week, and our aspiration is to bring back talent into Greece, to find our spotlight, our spot on the amazing international field of artificial intelligence, probably something like ethics, probably something that has to do with democracy, ethics, technology, Greece, something like that. And yes, we should be proud of what we've achieved these 11 months. And we also spotted and put Greece on every international field that discusses AI. Greece is a member of the GPI, the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, which is a coordinator from the OECD. It's been established now 3 years, and we were not members. Now we are members. We participate in every international field and forum that discusses AI.
Amazing work. Thank you so much for taking that initiative, and we are looking forward to what's next. Mr. Tassias, you have a lot of public sector work in EY. You do a lot of work on that. What are the common challenges you observe in implementing AI in the public sector, and how you can overcome those?
Thank you very much for the question. And actually, I'm quite excited to see the blueprint, the AI strategy. It's a good thing that things have been moving during this past year and even before that. And we didn't expect the strategy first, which is a common issue here in Greece. EY has issued a very interesting report back in September, so it's quite fresh, about the challenges that governments face when they try to implement AI solutions. So this report is open to the public, so you can find it in our website. And I will just mention a couple of things in order for a sneak peek and to get some traffic to our website. So there is no secret ingredient there. It always comes to data, to people, and to the last but not least, the one that I love, processes and organization. You know, I will start with the last one. When I entered this sector back in the early 2000s, there was this Greek word, mechanorganosi. Maybe the younger persons do not ring a bell, this word. But it comes from the organization and machine, which is actually to build the organization along with the machine. This is something that we forgot along the way when we changed the name to IT, information technology, maybe, πληροφορική. But the thing is that you cannot have any digital transformation, especially AI initiatives, without having to review the processes and your organization. The second pillar is people. You mentioned people, and especially the lack of skills that is present in this new territory. The last part, it's actually the first one when you want to have quick wins. Data. Data usually are fragmented, and there is the jurisdiction thing that everyone owns the data. They think that they own the data. And this is something that also goes to the culture of public servants, because you know the public servants have their own approach. They do an amazing job, and they know that things are changing, the political leadership is changing, they will be there facing again and again the same problems the other day. So their reluctance to change, it's not something to be, mocked. It's something that it's natural to be there. So you need to initiate all these stakeholders to have people in all levels of the organization in order to have a successful AI strategy. And last but not least, this is common to every digital transformation project. However, AI has some aspects that are the first time that we are facing them. Bias, manipulation, accuracy of the data when the person is not present, the human ingredient is not there. So these three are not present in the deterministic IT systems. So we need to address those with a firm regulatory framework, which I hope I will have some time to explain a little bit more later on.
It's excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, right to you, Hismini, HDB has become synonymous of supporting small and medium enterprises. Many businesses choose bank loans through the programs of the Hellenic Development Bank because they find them more advantageous. Could you tell us a bit more about your role and how you put AI, Gen AI into HDB's agenda?
Sure. First, thank you. Also, I'm very happy to participate in this panel. And also, I think we are very complementary in terms of covering different parts of the market. So, as you rightly mentioned, at the Hellenic Development Bank, our main focus is the micro, small, and medium enterprises in Greece. And I think it's extremely important that when we talk about the digital transition and the transition to AI for Greece, that we don't forget the SMEs, because if they don't follow, we don't get the scale necessary and the change that is required. From our side, the way we try to do that is we finance the investment plans of SMEs. So we create financial instruments, be it, for example, loans or guarantees, or through equity via the Hellenic Development Bank of Investments. And the idea there is to really build on their investment plans to make sure that they do this digital transition. And especially at HDB, the last few years, we've created even specific instruments, specific financial instruments that only target, for example, the digital transition. And the idea is to really give the motivation through very advantageous financial terms to the SMEs to undertake these investments that are necessary for the AI transition and the digital transition, because I think, as you also rightly said, first we need to ensure we have the digital transition. Of course, the AI transition builds on that. So for us, that is very important. One other aspect of how we work that I would like to mention today is we also have an innovation guarantee, and that is also very important for SMEs, because that has a capital rebate, and it really gives a very strong incentive for an SME to build up an innovation plan and to really complete it, because essentially the capital rebate is based on certain criteria that if you meet, you get up to 20% of the loan as capital rebate. So it's a very advantageous program, and it really gives an incentive, especially on the newer companies, the younger companies, the startups, to really get into this financing, very important financing cycle, and to ensure that they complete the projects and they do it in the right way. So for us, this is very important. But it has to come in a coordinated effort, and I'm glad to hear about the government policy as well, because I think the previous panel also touched upon it. We need also the necessary education. We see that especially not just, in the main urban centers, but also in the periphery, we have to work more on the educational aspect. It's very important for the digital transition. And there, I think we need to make more of an effort to ensure that everybody comes with us. That it's a fair transition. So I think that's very important. And I'll stop here for now.
Thank you so much. This is actually very practical information. Lots of it I didn't know. I'm sorry. But this also applies to the audience. Thank you for sharing that. Jana, Microsoft has really embarked on significant investments in the region. We all hear about data centers, partnerships with governments. How do these initiatives align with Microsoft's vision for AI integration in national digital transformation strategies?
Thank you. We believe a lot in the region and also in the potential of Greece. That's why we are investing. In terms of AI and transformation, we don't talk in Microsoft anymore about digital transformation. We talk about AI transformation for governments and the private sector. Actually, it's important to understand that AI is not just a tool. AI is a general purpose technology. It's like the electricity in the past, like printing services in the past. That means, and that's very important, that broader access has to take place, let's say, in a society in order to be more prosperous leveraging AI. And that's why we have a 360 strategy that we are following up. And we touch upon public sector, private sector, startups, skilling. Talent is very, very important. And also responsible use of AI. And if I start with the public sector, what we try is to partner with governments to recommend and also share experience from around the globe about AI national strategies so that they can take into consideration. We can help them, let's say, to modernize the experiences of the public servants and the citizens. And actually, we have done significant steps also with the Greek government, and we have seen all examples like my My AI Gov, My AI Greece, and recently, which is a major step, according to me, what Cadastry launched, that the government moved from just leveraging AI as a source of intelligent information to an actionable AI, so intelligent automation, let's say, which is an amazing step. And we also work with the governments of Malta and Cyprus in this aspect. In the private sector, we are partnering with all sizes of enterprises. We have seen great steps taken by the large enterprises. Actually, I'm very proud that we had 7 of the largest companies in Greece in the preview of Copilot. So actually, they were amongst the first in the world to experiment with Copilot. Now we are practically at the large enterprise segment at 80% leveraging already Copilot, which is amazing. It shows the culture shift in Greece that now we are experimenting and we are leveraging new technologies. In the past, it was not like that. I would agree, though, with this, Bini, that we see more need to help also SMBs, because there is a lack of understanding on how to leverage those technologies before also touching the actual technical skill set to leverage those technologies. If I move on the startup sector, we are working very closely with key stakeholders in the markets to accelerate our startups. Actually, we have run last year a startup accelerator for AI. We had 15 of the top startups that were above the MVP, let's say, step. And they got a lot of consultancy, go-to-market, free credits, AI, free access to AI models. So this was amazing. We are also working, we are giving Founders Hub, we call it, that offers to startups free consultancy on the business, on the technical side, but also free credits. And last but not least, we focus a lot on skilling. So actually, we partner with all entities, let's say, and stakeholders in the society. In Greece, for example, on top of the upskilling we run for 100,000 Greeks that will happen, let's say, until end of 2025. Last year, we ran the largest ever AI skilling program with regeneration for 1,000 Greeks, and 50% out of those that were in the program got employed after this.
Amazing. Yeah.
We also ran last year a hackathon for female talent. So it was an AI women hackathon across 8 countries. Amazing, a lot of applications, 900 applications. We only took 120 because we had some limits. And it was about AI for social good. So it was very impressive to see that. And I would like to close with a focus on responsible AI. It was also mentioned by Dimitris before. It's very important, and we partner with governments and policymakers to share our experiences as well, and to also brainstorm on how to better leverage those technologies in a responsible way.
That was part of my second question to you, so I'll start the other way around, again with you. I wanted to ask you about responsible AI. You mentioned that, but I also want some notes on the establishment of new data centers in the region. I would like to hear from you how Microsoft is addressing concerns related to data sovereignty and security in the context of AI applications. So besides individual responsible AI, I would like to see what is your take on sovereignty and security at the largest bigger picture level?
First of all, the development of data centers that are within the EU boundary gives us, let's say, better sovereignty. We have to distinguish sovereignty from data residency. Those are 2 different things. And we have all realized, especially now with the geopolitical frictions, how important it is to have ownership of your data and secure access on your data, and to feel that your data are protected. So actually, the investment of the Microsoft data center offers sovereignty within the EU data boundary, and also it offers, it benefits actually from the compliance on GDPR. So actually we are safe in terms of how our data are handled in terms of privacy. Now, if I move on the responsible AI and analyze a little bit more, what we do in Microsoft is that we make sure we follow some specific principles. First of all, AI systems have to be fair, so to treat everyone with fairness and equally. They have to be resilient and safe for humans. They have to be inclusive, so you need to have different, let's say, groups of the population need to have ensured access to AI services independent of gender, age, race, political beliefs, and other factors that could limit their access to this type of services. Security is very, very important, so to protect the data, because data is everything for AI in reality, and also security of the models. We take a lot of actions as Microsoft to ensure that we check regularly the security of the models, and we don't leverage the customers' or government's data for training those models. So this is very, very important.
Yep.
And then finally, we make. No, that's all for.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
yes.
that's super complete, and it gives us a picture about how seriously you take it. So it's mainly digital transformation for HDB. What tools does the bank offer to support the digital upgrading of business, particularly SMEs, of course, that are in great need of such assistance? Could you tell us a bit about your role and how you put, again, AI in the HDB agenda?
Perhaps we can mention also the non-financial instruments we are currently developing. I think the idea is, as it has already been mentioned in this panel, and I'm sure in the conference today, AI is a great tool. And for example, given the challenges that Greek SMEs face, we can actually use AI to really lever on the technology and solve some of these issues. So I will give one example. For example, ESG, which is becoming quite a challenge for the very small companies, because now the reporting framework is changing. They have to make specific measurements on the environmental side. They don't always have the knowledge. We have been developing some tools at the first phase, reporting tools, so we are getting some information in. The idea is that going forward, we could develop further these tools with the use of AI to really help SMEs to report, for example, on ESG, or even to build a business plan. So this type of difficulties that a very small company with less than 10 people it finds a challenge. Perhaps, and we are in the process of examining different tools that could really help them. And we think their AI is it's really a game changer, so to speak. So we are putting a lot of effort into that. We've already done the first step, which is all our programs run on digital platforms. So we are already collecting the data, and it's very easy for an entrepreneur, no matter where he's sitting in Greece, to kind of apply. The first step, you apply to the HDB, then you go to the bank. And so already we have the process flowing. I think now we are really in the process of trying to develop these tools that we get good enough results. Another aspect I would like to mention is we run also innovation challenges. So currently we have open an innovation challenge along the same spirit. The first one, we give 20,000 euros in 2 companies. The first one, we've asked to design a digital platform so that we collect from the technical transfer offices, technology transfer offices of the universities, all patent information, because we are in the process of designing a patent fund to really
enhance. Are you going to run it again, like next year?
It's currently running. We opened it last week, the innovation challenge. Yes.
I see.
So it's currently running. Yeah. So the first topic is a digital platform to collect the patent information from especially from the educational establishment. And the second one is to build a GIS platform for agribusiness, basically for small SMEs in the agriculture, to try and have a first spatial analysis so that we can at least provide them with a rough calculation of, for example, carbon emissions. So it's a very first step, but we are trying to kind of, move into this direction. So I would say these tools are quite important for us because also they demonstrate the use of AI and how it can really help your daily life, which is quite important for SMEs.
Perfect, perfect. We learn a lot here. Thank you so much. Dimitri, how can governments ensure that AI initiatives are inclusive and do not exacerbate existing social inequalities?
I think this is the biggest challenge of AI implementation in the government area. There are some steps in the approach that you can take. First of all, you need data from diverse sources. You need to put people, different stakeholders from different organizations in order to see the actual policy, because the AI in the government is there to serve a specific policy. So we have several examples of government agencies around the world that they were obliged to roll back AI solutions when the AI solutions showed bias or false positives in fraud detection or racial profiling, etc. However, the legal framework is not always the best way to go. I don't know if how many of you know that now, from 2022, there is a law, before ChatGPT was announced, that every company in Greece, beyond 50 people, needs to have a registry of their AI solutions with specific data on what data it keeps, what is the reasoning behind it, what is the logic, how it works, etc. I mean, I was coming here and I was listening to the radio for an AI dehumidifier. I don't know what that is, but I can imagine a committee, a government committee, seeing a dehumidifier and say, where is the AI there? But, I mean, this is a very forward-thinking law back in 22, but it's not applicable in every situation. So we need to have, you know, also the cliches, sometimes they are wise. I mean, we have to have the aids, the human intelligence, along with the A, the artificial one.
Thank you so much. Going to Yannis. Yanni, how is the Greek government collaborating, engaging with other international organizations and other nations to develop a cohesive, a collaborative approach to AI governance?
Collaborate with other governments now. Within the framework of the European Union, work is being doing. Within the framework of OECD, we work and we collaborate. The main problem with the international collaboration of the field of AI is that we still have not found the common denominator or the common base in order to discuss issues before the legal ones. The legal issues, for sure, they are going for sure to come after the technological innovation. That's a fact. We cannot change that. But what we can, we should, and we try is to make a coherent ethical framework which is one step before the legal one. That's the interesting and more stimulating part of this international discussion. Academic one, between countries, between states, between professionals, etc., and mainly between societies at the end. Because we have to find a common, to find a bridge between the Western so-called countries and the Chinese paradigm, if we can ever find a common ground with it, with the Chinese thinking of mentality about AI. And that is the most interesting and necessary part. The ethical before the legal. The Convention of Europe has reached a final agreement, which is the very first international agreement on ethical legal rights as working as a common denominator on things like that. But we're still far away from it. I think we need some years before we reach such an international and necessary agreement, probably within the framework of the UN. We'll see.
Thank you so much. You said probably in the framework of UN?
United Nations.
Very good.
Probably.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Andrea, last question to you. So another role that you have is that you're a board member of TAIPED. It helps structure and attract bids for a number of public-private partnerships. So what role do you see for such partnerships in accelerating AI research? And how can such collaborations be structured effectively?
So So TAIPED, for those of you who don't know, is the Hellenic Republic Asset Development Fund, and it's a company that's run obviously with the state as its sole shareholder through the growth fund, through Hipertamio, but that operates with effectively private company governance. So it can have a mission, it can have an independent board, it can pay people competitively, it can hire and fire people. It's operated as a private company in terms of governance. So the advantages that it has is that it can see things end to end. When things come to TAIPED, there's been a strategic decision made that either through a public-private partnership or through a concession or an outright sale, that it's in the interest of the state for that particular asset to be developed in some way. So when we're talking specifically about public-private partnerships, PPPs, that can be tricky, and they can be tricky because we have to realize different stakeholders care for different things. To assume that private companies are going to do something out of the goodness of their heart is a naive assumption. They have profit motives and shareholder value maximization motives. And similarly, as a government, sometimes the motive is not just to get the maximum value of a particular asset at a point in time, but to potentially use that asset as a lever for having a multiplicative effect onto the economy and the well-being of people down the line. So sometimes you see these debates in the press about, oh, Hellenico, did they pay too much, did they pay too little? And people are completely missing the point that it's not just the price at which the transaction happened, that was determined through auction, it was the price, but it's really about the downstream multiplier effects that the development like that we have. So with all that intro, I think the key word is alignment. Alignment between in areas where you can actually agree that different stakeholders, while they have different motives, can still find a way to operate in a way that is aligned and that shares, to my previous point, shares the risk. Because there's no deal, there's no business that you start, there's no endeavor that you take over that doesn't have inherent risk. But as long as you're sharing the risk and reward in a way that makes sense to an aligned outlook of what people are in it for, things can happen. So specifically for AI, there's a number of initiatives that will be presented next week that may in fact be implemented through public-private partnerships. So we'll talk more about that then.
Lots of stuff to look forward to, I would say. I want to ask the organizers if we have room for a couple of more questions. I know that the time is up on our screens, but we might have...
We don't care about that.
Where am I looking to? Έχουμε?
Ναι.
Όποιος θέλει να σηκωθεί και ας ρωτήσει, παιδιά.
Okay, so yeah, let's get a couple of questions from the audience. We would love to hear from you. And we have amazing panelists here just right before our Prime Minister arrives. Do we see any hands? Yes, we see one hand here. And please share who you are before you ask the question. Do we have a mic in the room? Because in any...
Yeah, we can hear.
Please, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm using that now. So yeah, I was thinking that we are facing it as renaissance. It's something that is happening now. We're using it as a tool. We do have a lot of things that we have as opportunities that come, but those come at a cost, right? We said that on the field of training people and how we have the ESG part of it. So I was thinking that since we have Gen AI that comes with a cost also at an environmental level, maybe it would be wise to have it. I don't know if it comes on the agenda that you're presenting the next days, but I was thinking that maybe it should be part of the agenda on a national level. What are the environmental implications and what are our requests from company side that like data centers that are processing and they're creating a lot of carbon emission, CO2 emissions on, I don't know, it's on a global level, but it's also on a national level. And what we are requesting from the companies on that aspect, I don't know if you have any input. I mean, we're using Microsoft services as a partner, so I was thinking it's a huge amount of data we're processing, and those have huge implications on an environmental level. So I was thinking that maybe the least we can do is match up those implications, right? So I don't know if you have any input on that.
Who would you like to ask, the company side or the government side?
I'd like to hear both, but let's take it from the company side first, what they're doing with that, and how, because maybe you do have an answer later on that. So, yeah. Thank you.
Would you like to take this?
Just to make sure that I capture. So it's about data and sustainability, or?
It's about the environmental influence and how we're adding up as companies on the countries that we hold our data centers, or the implications and the influence we have as we're processing data, and our emissions are huge, right? Everybody's using it, so we're emitting more, so we need to start acting on that, so on the environmental level, mostly.
So let me start from because there are many layers on that. Let's start from the infrastructure, first of all. So what we do as a company, when we do deploy data centers, we are based on leveraging green energy. So this is a must, and also we have a big sustainability engagement and commitment as Microsoft in order to become not only carbon neutral, but be carbon negative. So actually we are working there a lot, and we have even specific R&D to see how we can remove the carbon from previous years with special techniques. Now, if we move on the AI, this requires a lot of energy, so there are many optimizations happening. So on top of leveraging green energy, we support in our platforms many different language models, and we try to advise and build skill set to the governments and customers, leveraging those models to make the right choices. Let me give you an example. If you use an SLM, the energy you consume is much less than if you use an LLM. So it's quite important to make the right selection. And then also we with automation and the extra digitalization, we have helped a lot of companies improve their internal operations. So this helps them, let's say, reduce the energy that they are leveraging, the paper they are leveraging, and we are providing the tools for them to measure this and assess. And actually, we have a sustainability, let's say, a metrics tool that companies can leverage in order to see the progress and get informed, make informed decisions when they move on.
You can add as
Sure, sure. If you want.
From our side on the financing, we have also an instrument which targets directly the green financing, where energy efficiency is a big component of it. We always talk about SMEs, but I think what is very important is what mentioned earlier, that now for all our new financing programs, we are requesting that they do this ESG self-evaluation, and that really gives you a good picture of what happens in the market, but also for each company, it makes it think about these things, because as you know, also the banking sector is moving towards green financing, and these things will become important. So just to mention this.
Can I add a quick thing?
I think one more.
Can I add just a quick thing to the questions?
Sure.
I think
yes.
On the national level, because look, at the end of the day, if there's externalities in the market, they need to be regulated and priced into the price of the electricity itself. It's not, I don't think each company should be making their own sort of calculation of what the price is, but taking it from a national perspective, this can actually be an advantage for Greece. Greece has a high percentage of green energy for electricity, and especially if new work like Daedalus, for example, if a lot of the energy that's used, we heard from the minister about Daedalus, which is this specifically computation, hypercomputer that's supercomputer that's being built in Greece. It's going to be powered by green energy, right? So to the extent these can be catalysts for making leaps that actually get us closer to a renewable energy future. Look at what's happening with nuclear energy. All of a sudden, there's investments into nuclear energy being to some extent brought upon by companies like Microsoft and others who are thinking way ahead of what their future needs may be and wanting to do it in a quote-unquote sustainable way, or at least more sustainable way. So I guess what I'm saying is it's hard to isolate single impacts in what is a very nonlinear and codependent market. The reality is once a technology is out of the bag, you cannot put it back into the bag. It's here to stay. It moves forward, future moves forward. You know, the Luddites, we can't move backwards. So it's all about now, what do you do to also speed up all the other pieces of the puzzle you need to, for example, be greener, more environmentally friendly and sustainable, while also recognizing that you're not going to slow down the adoption of new technology.
Thank you so much to all of you that you were here today. I hope you stay for the rest of the summit. And before we leave, I really want to share with you that we have a break right now, but we have a surprise outside. So go towards the canal and look at the sky. Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed it.